Hey guys, what's up? I'm back once again, and this time I don't want to waste too much time because it is time to talk about possibly my most anticipated movie of the entire year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, the first film, as you probably already know by now, is definitely a game changer in cinema. So, I don't think it needs much of an introduction. I mean, you probably already know that I love this movie based on one of my previous videos that totally wasn't advertised as a video on that movie that ended up being an April Fool's video on the movie Venom. To say that Spider-Verse is a film that's hard to hate would be an understatement. Everyone I know loves this movie, and for good reason. I've never seen a Marvel movie, much less an animated one, that went this hard on every aspect of its filmmaking, from animation, writing, characters, acting, music, etc. So it definitely seemed that Spider-Verse 2 was definitely going to have a lot to live up to. And is it possible for a film like this to be as good, or maybe even better, than the first film? Well, when thinking about the hype around a movie like this, that's a highly anticipated sequel to a beloved first movie, I think of the many times a direct sequel surpassed all expectation during each decade. 1980 had The Empire Strikes Back. 1999 had Toy Story 2. 2008 had The Dark Knight. 2017 had Blade Runner 2049. 2023 has Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Like, holy shit, this movie is incredible. You might think I sound crazy, but if you haven't seen this movie, you have no idea on what kind of shit they were able to pull off here. This is a film where every single frame has ounces of creativity that can only be matched to something along the lines of Everything Everywhere All at Once. To the point where I'm not even sure where to begin with something like this. But I'll try. I guess I'll start by praising the animation, which, yes, the first film was a game changer in animation, and while some might seem to dismiss the current trend of other movies capitalizing this style, the fact that it managed to do something entirely new with CG by giving it a 2D edge makes it a trend that I'm perfectly okay with. Especially with how many movies try to be varied in this kind of style, and this film is no exception. Where this movie goes even above and beyond that is the amount of different art styles that appear throughout the entirety of this film's runtime. There's so many great use of colors with so much variety in every scene where you are never bored with the amount of spectacle that appears because it's all unique from one set piece to the other. It starts as early as within the first 5 minutes of this movie, and it just builds and builds from there in the best way. Though this isn't a style over substance kind of deal. They also went further with the story and characters, if you can believe it. The film still focuses on Miles Morales having a balanced life as Spider-Man, and where it works so well is that it does dive into the pressure of being a hero like Spider-Man, and also some relatively decent family drama. The family stuff does ground the film by being very heartfelt and relatable, with both Miles and his parents learning from one another, giving a lot more complexities to these characters. Things aren't always black and white in this film, and the way it tackles trying to be both a good parental figure and also being a good kid has this strong emotional core that gives it staying power. It doesn't just even apply to Miles Morales, as we get some of this stuff with Peter Parker from the last movie, with him trying to be a dad, and even Gwen Stacy, who has a way bigger role this time around. She was fantastic in the first film, and I think now after this, she's starting to be easily one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man universe. She goes through a lot with the idea of loss and learning how to be a responsible hero, and it gets fascinating when you see all the complexity being a hero can have when it comes to her character. I absolutely adore everything about her here. Though, you can't go wrong with either of these two leads because they flesh them out well in the mix of all the callbacks and insane action. Which, yes, this is a Spider-Man fan's dream movie when it comes to fan service, topping everything that appeared in every Spider-Man movie prior to this. Sorry, No Way Home. There's jokes and references to everything Spider-Man related. And that's not even including all the different spider people who appear in this film. All of them are fun, with so many spider people of various different backgrounds, races, size, and even species that makes this film a joy to witness. Especially Spider-Punk. That dude is one cool mofo. It does add to a very meta nature, which tends to be expected nowadays in movies, though where this film differs than other movies is that it's not just callbacks and funny nods to the franchise. The film has this very distinct meta nature when it comes to story progression and structure that ends up working very well when you consider Spidey's history. It even adds more emotional and dark elements in terms of where exactly it goes that makes this a very engaging film in that regard. In this case, the story still works so incredibly well with the callbacks to Spider-Man being excellent. I definitely don't want to go into detail because of spoilers, but one thing I will mention is that me reviewing Venom this past April ended up being more fitting than I thought it was going to be. Speaking of things I want to quickly mention without spoilers, I also really love Jason Schwartzman as one of the main antagonists in this movie, being the Spot. He's another character that adds this great artistic direction with so many great visuals dealing with the character, and as the film goes on, you see him be more and more of a threat in the best possible way. Yet he also has some great funny moments as well, which, without spoiling it, there's an element that deals with his backstory that easily gave me the biggest laugh in the entire movie, and I can't wait for people to discover it. Proof that if you cast Jason Schwartzman as the main antagonist in a comic book movie, you're gonna get a god tier one, even if there's only been 2 of them.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
That's also another key element with this movie that works so well, is the tone, because while there are a ton of great laughs, it's balanced perfectly with the more dramatic moments. Unlike some Marvel movies that go overboard with a joke every 2 minutes being an inappropriate contrast to certain scenes, this film knows exactly where to get a laugh or have an emotional gut punch. It's astonishing to me that this movie ends up being more mature than most MCU projects. I like the MCU, don't get me wrong, but this is just on a whole nother level of greatness that I really can't explain that much more without spoiling things, and can't really find anything too bad about it. If there's one thing that might not sit well with people, it's that this film does set up another part pretty obviously, but I don't think it's done in a way that's bad. The film is such a visceral experience the whole way through, and you enjoy it so much, you're going to be excited for the next film regardless of what happens. What else can I say about this that isn't already being said right now about a film so outstanding like this? If you have any reservations about this movie, please, I am begging you, see this movie and leave any of those petty reservations at the door. Oh, it's too long. 2.5 hours is too long. No, it isn't. Because when watching this, I didn't feel time drag for a single second of this film, because it's the exact length it needs to be. The fact they were able to do this while still leaving you wanting more is proof that long movies shouldn't be judged against. Oh, but it's too woke. Please, for the love of God, stop with this stupid critique, because this movie not only uses diversity so well into its filmmaking, but any semblance of wokeness in a movie is not a bad thing. And if you think it is, go touch grass or something. And, most importantly, leave the whole, oh, I don't watch animated movies because they're made for babies and animation doesn't appeal to me, at home. And just get rid of that mentality while you're at it. This film may be PG, but it doesn't feel kiddie at all, because this movie is more mature than a majority of PG-13 films I've seen. Animation is a medium that deserves respect and love, especially now with the amount of poor treatment that animators in the industry have been getting. This whole rhetoric that animation can never be on the level of big live action films is something that needs to be abandoned altogether. You can do so much with the medium that you can't help but appreciate the amount of creativity and personality that goes into the process of making them, especially when it's something as good as this. I highly implore you to see this movie, as it deserves to be the biggest movie of the summer. Especially since I honestly don't think there will be a film as good as this in the summer of 2023. And maybe even for the rest of the year. So, please, see this movie. I mean, what else are you gonna do? See the new terrible live-action remake of a great animated film?
Let's go, let's go, let's go! We got it! The gossip, the buzz,
This is the most obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Bottom line, animation is cinema. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is as good as you can with a movie like this. So, of course, I'm going to give it a rating of... amazing stuff. Go watch it. And if you have seen this movie, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And also hit that red subscribe button and bell icon for more notification on new videos. And I'll see you guys again in the near future. Catch you later.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man takes a dump in a coffee can.